The STEM Society.
What's poppin', people? My name is Cole Jackson. This is the STEM Society. Welcome back. Two things on the docket this week, guys. Lizzo is apparently not hot in these streets no more. I don't know how she went from classic to ashy, but we're going to figure out why she sold only 3K of her newest album. We'll get to that later on. Right now, there's a war going on outside. No man is safe. Apparently, there is a beef between Akademiks and Charlamagne Tha God, and it's been going on right up under my nose, and I haven't been paying attention. Here recently, Akademiks went on a bit of a Twitter rant to call out his main guy, his mentor, the guy who put him in the game or helped put him in the game, Charlamagne Tha God. Look at what he tweeted here recently. There's like 3 niggas in hip-hop media who can't hide the fact they're getting paid to spread narratives from Roc Nation. They ain't worth mentioning because not one of the paid narratives have been believed or worked. We just laugh at them niggas for trying. To y'all paid Roc Nation shills, the point of y'all getting paid is for your narratives to actually be believed. Y'all spreading narratives that we all looking at like, nigga, please. Get better quickly or Jay is going to fire y'all. Y'all know how he get down. He likes results. It hurts my heart watching my hip-hop media idol Charlamagne spit Roc Nation talking points. I'm speechless. I was proud of Joe Budden though. At least he's not on script, even though he definitely loved him some Hove. The rest of y'all shills, I don't know. Y'all voices ain't loud enough. So for a lot of y'all who are in the dark, a lot of those tweets were referencing back to when this whole narrative of the partnership with Jay-Z and Target was going on. And there were a lot of people in hip-hop media who were stepping forward to defend Jay. Charlamagne Tha God was one of those people. Now, in that rant, I watched a video where it was a lot of the same talking points from 3 different people. So when I seen that, I was kind of like, oh, this nigga might be on to something. Watch this video that I found on the social media showing the same talking points being said by 3 different media personalities.
I think it's selective outrage.
Selective outrage. It's like
singled out as Jay-Z.
Every major artist
has
the same vinyl exclusive.
Exclusive because they changed the color or whatever.
It's just a different color.
And I saw it on J. Cole, The Fall Off.
J. Cole's The Fall Off.
Like J. Cole.
Saw it on Kendrick GNX.
Kendrick Lamar.
I understand why all of a sudden this is an issue because it's Jay-Z. Shit.
I don't see nobody complaining about Target for no other reasons until Jay-Z does something.
When I see a video like that, it don't make act look too crazy. Now, seeing something like that with 3 different people on different platforms saying the same thing reminds me of a tactic they used to do back in the day called synchronized messaging, or was it called must-run programming, where they would all have these synchronized scripts where they would be able to relay the same type of message. It was something that people was outraged about back in the day, but it was something that actually happened, and that was to protect certain people or to push out a certain message. So act don't look too crazy when he says that. You see the video and think about these tactics that he used to do back in the day. So fast forward to the Jay-Z 30 pop-up where Charlamagne Tha God is there in the middle of everything, looking through Jay-Z merch. And what does he do? He throws a shot at Akademiks.
Taylor, where we at right now?
In the Jay-Z's pop-up shop.
Okay. A lot of dope merch in here, right?
Yep.
See if my employee discount works. See if my Roc Nation employee discount works.
I find this story interesting because Charlamagne was somebody who used to ride for Akademiks. As much as everybody outside of the world used to say this nigga ain't shit, Charlamagne would be like, no, I like it. We need him for the culture. We need him for the ecosystem. And now the same nigga who you was riding for is stabbing you in the back, maybe even stabbing you in the front. Who knows? But there's 2 different narratives that's running here. People are looking at Charlamagne as somebody who's paid under the table to take up for Jay-Z because he's one of the biggest voices in hip-hop media, right? He's a paid shield by Roc Nation. Gotcha. The other narrative is Akademiks is deflecting because there's a lot of state lawsuits going on. There's a lot of stuff going on with Akademiks TV that's been running smear campaigns and racist smear campaigns against artists and started fucking with Charlamagne, and now the shit just got out of control. So who do we believe or what narrative do we run with? Now, me personally, I don't think that Charlamagne Tha God is a fucking paid shield. Want to know why? Because OG niggas love Jay-Z. That's all it is to it. On this platform, I've had my say about some of the things that Jay-Z has done. And it's not because I hate Jay-Z, it's because sometimes you just call niggas out. But the comments of the stans who love Jay are just going to ride for this nigga no matter what. They're going to most definitely say, yo, you not seeing it from that point of view, or he's done so much for the culture and all this other bullshit that they believe, that sometimes they just ride really hard for Jay. If it's a New York nigga, they're going to ride triple hard for Jay because it's New York, we represent birth of hip hop, all of this bullshit that they've been spewing to us for the last 50 some odd years, right? So for me to sit up here and to think, oh man, Charlamagne Tha God is paid. No, he just an OG nigga that just loves Jay and he's gonna ride for Jay. Kind of like how Akademiks rides for Drake. He's doing the exact same thing that Charlamagne is doing. He's riding hard for the dude that he feels like is the best. Now, is he more trustworthy than Charlamagne? Hell no. I wouldn't trust Akademiks with nothing. Because I feel like he does a lot of things for a check. He does a lot of things for attention. He does a lot of things for views. But I do see where Charlamagne is coming from when he says he's deflecting. Here recently, Charlamagne was on his podcast, and he said he would like to sit down with Akademiks and have a face-to-face because there's a lot of things he's not answering to.
And me and I can have the conversation publicly if you want to. Stop deflecting from this stuff. I want to know about these headlines that the Wall Street Journal and Inverse,
you and Charla,
and everybody else is talking about.
Please.
InverseWire.com says, pay no attention to the grand wizard behind the curtain. 5 lawsuits say the bets were rigged, the screams were bought, and even the chat losing its mind was a hire inside the machine that manufactures Drake. Grand Wizard is mentioned in that. George Wynn. I want to hear you talk about that. And the Wall Street Journal article is, they looked like they were getting rich on Polymarket, but none of it was real. The prediction market has flooded social media with deceptive videos paid by paid creators, according to a Wall Street Journal investigation. Drake and Aiden Ross declined to comment for that article, as they should. I want to hear you talk about that. Talk about that stuff. Don't talk about me. Don't talk about Roc Nation. Address y'all shit. Don't try to deflect and say Roc Nation is paying people to do X, Y, Z. This ain't got nothing to do with nobody. This is investigations that people have been doing on you and your team.
So, it looks like it's a lot more to this whole situation than just somebody getting paid for something else. It looks like X team is actually getting caught up in a lot of bullshit. Now, far be it for me to sit up here and try to defend that when it comes to those types of things, because I don't really know the full story. All I know is there's a lot of paperwork that's been going on, and Charlamagne has been trying to warn this nigga for the last, I don't know how many months about this stuff coming down the line. And ever since that thing happened, Akademiks has been going at Charlamagne, or have been going at hip-hop media as a whole, for being paid shills. Do I think it's coincidence? Fuck no. Now, there has been a lot of things going on behind the scenes when it comes to Jay-Z and what he hears when it comes to podcasts and radio shows. A lot of these hip-hop media talking heads always talk about the phone call. I've heard Joe talk about it. I've heard Charlamagne talk about it. I've heard Nori talk about it. Apparently, if you don't say something that Jay likes, or if it's not jiving with what's really going on, Jay give you that phone call, and a lot of those niggas don't want to hear that shit. A lot of them don't want to be in the path of anger when Jay-Z gets perturbed. So I can understand why sometimes these niggas really go with the program and say what they have to say because they don't want to hear from what Jay has to say, or Jay calling them out or telling them this, that, and this. So I don't really think that, again, I don't think that Charlamagne's paid. I don't think Charlamagne is paid, not one bit. Maybe he just don't want to hear from Jay. Maybe he don't want to get the phone call. At the end of the day, 2 things. One side of this is really what's going on with Akademiks in these lawsuits. Is he really caught up in this gambling scheme that they keep talking about? And again, I need to do a little bit more research. That's why I haven't talked too in depth about it, because I still need to read more about who's getting sued and who's not. But is there some lawsuits on the table for him, and is he really in trouble, and that's why he's pointing out everybody else being shills? Like, what's going on with that? I really want to know, because I want him to sit down with Charlamagne, and I want them to have this conversation. I want them to actually talk this shit out and go ahead and expose what's really happening behind the scenes. And on the other end of that, I believe the big time talking heads like Charlamagne, Joe Budden, Noriega, I really do feel like they protect this nigga Jay too much. They're willing to step out in front of a bullet for this nigga, and I don't necessarily know why. There's a lot of times when Jay is wrong in that situation. If you ask me, the Target partnership to me was wrong. He's smart enough to know what's happening with the culture. He's smart enough to know that we're not fucking with Target. Why would you go that route? Right? He really hadn't even stepped up to say anything about it still. I don't know if we're going to ever hear from Jay about that. But I do feel like hip hop media protects him a lot more. He's in this bubble, bruh. And it's like we can't tear him down. And it's not holding him accountable. It's not tearing him down. Like, I want him to be, somebody got to say something to him or something about him in hip hop media and not be afraid of whatever he may say or do after the fact. That's my biggest thing. So all of these narratives, all of this beef is still left on the table. It's still a question mark behind what's really going on, and we'll never really know until these niggas sit down with each other. What do you guys think? Do you think there's a real beef between Charlamagne and Akademiks? Do you think these niggas will ever sit down and tell us what's really happening? I really would like to know what you guys have to say in the comments. So, talking about sitting down. Here recently, Lizzo only sold 3,000 copies of her newest album, Bitch. Now, I know what you're saying on the other side of the screen. Cole, you never really go over stuff like this. I know I focus on a lot more hip-hop news, a lot more of the podcast goings on, so on and so forth. But this type of fall off has to be talked about because she fell all the way off. When you think about her last album, which I looked up the numbers, her last album sold first week 69,000 units. She debuted at number 3 on Billboard 200. How do you go from that to, and I made sure I went to Luminate to get the real numbers too, not that bullshit. Luminate says this album, Bitch, sold 2,649 units the first week. And she fell all the way off the second week by selling 650 units after that. So how do you go from winning Grammys over Beyonce? Mind you, you guys don't remember that. She won Song of the Year over Beyonce. Like, what the fuck? How do you go from that to shit? Now, people are pointing to the fact that she's just not a very likable person. Now, I don't know Lizzo from a can of paint, but I could just see on the way she acts on social media, yeah, she probably annoying as hell. But that's what you have to be to sell your product these days. You have to be annoying. You have to be somebody who is on our faces all the time, and it fucking sucks. But that's how it is in these days when you're promoting something. Also, she's signed to Atlantic, which is under the leadership of Elliot Grange, who is Lucian Grange's son. Atlantic has been doing a lot of restructuring here recently to kind of focus more on the artists, so they say. Tons of layoffs, tons of different people not having jobs anymore that used to really focus on the promotional side of things. I think her first mistake was her calling out her label in the very beginning.
I don't know, but I'm crashing out on my label right now because I just really, I don't know. I feel like there's not any marketing money being put towards all of my ideas. I had an idea, we had a meeting a month ago with a bunch of incredible ideas. None of them have been implemented. I text them weekly things that I want to see done in the digital space and ideas and things I want to make. I don't see them get done. I don't see them. And it's just, I'm starting to really, really, really feel down about it because it's I feel helpless. It's what can I do? What more can I do?
Nothing's going to make the label not support you more than to come out publicly and say that. Now, I don't know if you felt like you had the cachet to do it or not, but I don't feel like it was the right thing to do. If you're looking for that budget for promo, that's not the way to get it. I don't think she's... No shade and no disrespect to her, but you're not a big enough artist to do that, to pull that type of move. You're just not there yet. Sorry. So, doing those types of things really could hurt your cause instead of helping your cause. Now, she did take it upon herself to try to promote the album herself by putting up posters and Apparently she was streaking through restaurants. It was a lot of different tricks she was using to get these sales. And apparently that shit didn't work either. And I hate to be the person to say this, and this is just coming from me. Other people might not feel the same way, but I don't find Lizzo very relatable. And maybe I'm not the demo for Lizzo, or maybe I'm not the person who's supposed to be listening to her, but she's not very relatable to me. And what happened to those sexual assault charges that came up with your dancers that one time? Did that ever get resolved? I'm still thinking about that. So it's stuff like that keeps lingering in the air when it comes to people like Lizzo and her records, her album sales, and so on and so forth. Now, there was another instance where she wanted to speak up and blame the algorithm for not getting the sales. Listen to what she says about how social media has stopped artists from making sales or being successful in music.
The algorithm-based way that social media functions now is destroying the music industry. Now, when I say the music industry, I don't mean music culture. I don't mean the good music that's out. I don't mean our ability to connect via social media to music. I'm talking about the actual industry that allows artists to sell their music for profit. Because if your algorithm is super serving you things out of order of when they're happening, then the general public has no idea when music is actually coming out. I have had several occasions where there were artists whose music I was actually looking forward to, I completely missed because I didn't realize it was out because my algorithm didn't tell me. And I don't want to blame everything on the algorithm. Of course, we curate our own reality. However, back in the day, which was maybe even just 5 years ago, we used to get things chronologically.
I had to stop this video. This video is long. I'm not going to play the whole 3 minutes, but there was something there that she said that kind of made my spider sense tingle. The algorithm doesn't necessarily help or hurt us knowing when music comes out. When we open up our DSPs, the page shows what new music is there. Now, if she was an independent artist, I would say, oh, you're right, that's hurting you, because independent artists always get buried deep down in the fucking dumps when it comes to new music. People who are on labels always get pushed forward, and they always get pushed to the front because they want the labels that they have partnerships with to be able to get paid so they can get paid. So it's like, I get what she's saying about the algorithmic social media situation, and it's not chronological anymore. But at the end of the day, when you open up Spotify, when you open up I Have Tidal, when you open up Apple Music, when you're on a label and you're a big name, and she's considered a big name, you're front and center, no matter what. Period, point blank. That's no fucking... When I open up my page, I see, bam, it should be Lizzo. I see Beyonce. I see Jay-Z. When I open up my app, I see your ass. Social media doesn't have anything to do with that. So I kind of have to give her some pushback on that shit, because no, that's not how it works. Major labels make sure real artists and the artists that they like are up front and center.
There's actually no way to successfully promote an album where everyone knows your album is coming. Now, mind you, when I say everyone knows your album is coming, that doesn't mean whether they care or not that it's coming. Believe it or not, once upon a time, there were artists who were just the biggest on the planet who everyone knew their album was coming, whether they were going to buy it or not. It was ubiquitous. Where it bites me in the ass is I have a private page. I have a private page with over 280,000 people who follow me because they support me, because they love me. But even when I post on that page, I'm not hitting their algorithm. I have 280,000 people who want to buy my album, who want to see me on tour, and they're not even seeing my promotional videos. And I get accused of not promoting my album when I'm doing morning shows, podcasts, Netflix specials, dropping the packaging, dropping the cover, doing my part. And it's not just me. Because virality does not equal album sales. There are people who are super viral whose albums just don't sell as much as their fame. Their albums don't match the amount of views they have on their posts.
Your followers are not all human followers, right? Let's be completely transparent here when we start talking about followings and what the real numbers are. A lot of Instagram followers are bots. Now, I don't know what percentage she has that are bots, but you have a lot of bots on your page. And I'm pretty sure those followers, that following came post you signing to a label. And I'm not saying the label flooded them over there like that, but I'm pretty sure they had a little bit to do with that type shit. Now you're saying you have a private page and the people who are following you on your private page don't want to buy your album. It's hard for me to believe that that's true. I can't sit up here and just be like, you know what? She's got a point. No, even if only 10% of your following is bots, that's still the other 90% is a substantial fan base that's going to buy your shit. Maybe it's you. Maybe people not fucking with you right now. Maybe you're a bit annoying. Maybe you're too all over the place with the wrong message. Maybe it's just some shit that people ain't rocking with you on. Maybe, hear me out, maybe your music is just a little bit bland. Maybe your shit is dried up just a tad. Maybe you should disappear for a little while. That's all I'm saying. I don't... Artists always have excuses on why they're not selling. And a lot of times they point to the label. A lot of times they point to social media. A lot of times they point at everything else but them. Now, I read some of the reviews about her album. And a lot of the reviewers, like Rolling Stones or The Guardian, have just said this is just not a good effort. She's not putting forth effort in the album. She's not actually even trying. What is going on with her? That's not me saying it. That's the reviewers online on reputable websites saying the same thing. So, again, you can point to everything else that's out there right now. But at the end of the day, you got to look in the mirror and do this. Because it just might be you. Maybe you're not inspired anymore. Maybe you hate music. You've tried to quit music before. Maybe the shit just ain't rocking with you right now and you need to take a break. It's okay. That's what I would do. I would just kind of fall back, get out of music, get inspired, travel around the world by yourself or with your man and figure some other shit out. Because if you're doing music that's uninspired or if you're doing shit half-heartedly, people can tell. People can tell. Chill the fuck out sometime. Go 0 dark 30. And you know what this is my last thing and we're going to wrap this shit up. I remember when LeBron used to go 0 dark 30 and just go quiet. He used to go social media quiet. And that's how you knew this nigga was getting ready to put out some really good shit. Like Future. My nigga Future would clear out his Instagram and that's when you know this nigga finna drop some heat. Maybe you should change your approach about how you're putting your music out. And maybe you should just be quiet. Chill for a little bit. Find something else to do. Because apparently you being in our faces and you pulling out these antics of promoting this last album didn't really work. And maybe we're tired. Who knows? I don't know, guys. Tell me what you think. Do you think Lizzo is completely right about the algorithm and her label not helping her sell her album? Or do you think she's just boring and annoying and just not very relatable? Whatever you feel about it, let me know in the comments. Tell me down below. Before I get out of here, I have a Cole's Corner. Future is telling us that his newest album is called The Real Me and it'll be out July the 10th. Now, I am a Future fan. I can't wait to hear what the newest album sounds like. And he dropped a snippet and a new song called Radio. Now, I can't play it because YouTube will give me a strike or do all this other shit. So you have to take my word for it when I say, this ain't it. This shit sounds mainstream and horrible. I don't like none of it. I hate this song. I don't know what angle you're trying to take, Future. And I don't know what you're trying to do. But if that album is full of shit like this, you can forget it. Don't even put that shit out in July. Find something else. It is summertime. I need you to be as toxic as you possibly can because right now we got to walk around listening to Young Miami spin that and I'm tired of that fucking song already. That shit is getting on my fucking nerves. We need an anthem for the niggas. We need to be able to have some shit from you for us to be outside, Future. And if you doing this shit, if you're doing this radio shit, I promise you, I'm going to find you and we're going to have a conversation. Because I don't want to hear none of this bullshit that you're playing, this song, this radio song. I hate it. I can't stand this shit. It is trash. I know you got something in the tuck because there's no way that we're going to get a Summertime Future album where you doing this shit. So I just wanted to go give you a fair warning and say, if the whole album is like this, we gonna have a conversation, brother. You're going to have to see me. Because if I got to go through the rest of the summer listening to Spin That and not have something for us, the guys, you have failed as an artist. You have failed as Future. On top of that, too, last thing, and then we out of here. When is Future gonna hang it up? Like, is it time for Future to chill with the music? Is it time for Future to kind of fall back a little bit? I don't know. I was just thinking about that. Like, Future been out for a minute. He been out for a while. And he keep getting away with the toxic shit, but I like it. But I'm like, how long can he keep doing the toxic music? That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for joining me for another episode. If you like what I do, because what I do is not very easy. Pay me to like, pay me to comment, but support me with a subscription and grow this platform as big as the sun. I will have a bonus video coming out this week where I'm going to be talking about XXL's freshman class. I want to talk about the people I like, who I don't like, and who got snubbed, because there was a couple of rappers that should have been on that list and they completely missed out. So be on the lookout for that later on this week. That's it. Thank you again, man. Take care of yourself. Have a great week. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.
She is kind of fucking with my money, but I meant everything I said, and I say it again.